right. Good morning. Good morning. How are you, Gerwin?
Well, I'm fantastic. Pash, how are you, my friend?
Great. Well, we should welcome everybody to Community Connect with Gerwin and Pash. Happy March 28th. Wow, time is flying.
I can't believe we're almost at the end of the first quarter. But yeah, welcome to Community Connect, where we bring you the network of experts on topics you want to know about.
Whether you knew it or not.
Whether you know it or not, we're here. We're here for you. Pash, you are crushing it. I tell you, the live, it went live at the exact moment that video started. You synced those perfectly. I mean,
hey,
practice makes perfect, right?
Hey, be careful. Don't expect professional podcasting. That's not the skill set here. Remember, don't tell anybody that we're professionals, because we definitely are not. But we're working on it.
Definitely not professionals. But
so any quick updates, anything for you this past week?
This past week, well, I guess it was supposed to be spring, but it wasn't. It ended up snowing, as if you live in Rochester, you got the brunt of that. But no, the biggest update is actually Spencer and I are headed to Thailand next week. Which I'm really excited about. We've never been to Asia, and it's a big trip for us. So, just trying to get everything in line, in order, and there's always a lot of work and build up to get ready for a big vacation like that. So, should be good. But what about yourself?
Lots of great stuff. Today, we actually have a women's networking event that the Chamber of Commerce is hosting over at Shamrock Jacks. Very excited about that. So, and I was excited about this morning and our interview with Becky Sherman Kieffer, Rebecca Kieffer. I'm going to get all this right. We'll explain why the name is like that for me. So, but anyway, it's a great day. I'm very excited. And I'm actually going to be going to Vegas, believe it or not. I got an opportunity to go to Vegas for a conference, for a Medicare conference next week as well. So while you're in Thailand, I'll be in Vegas working.
Sure.
Working. Okay.
That's great. That'll be fun. I know we were talking. It's a really sweet opportunity. And I'm excited for you. So that'll be great.
Awesome. All right. Well, people came to not hear about us. So let me introduce Rebecca Kieffer. She's a graduate of Fisher in 1996 with a BA in psychology. Me too, just so you know. Licensed clinical social worker since 2000, master's in social work from Syracuse University, 16 years with Rochester Regional Health System in direct care, and then became a leadership position there. She joined Fisher in 2016 to lead a team of licensed professionals in the Health and Wellness Center, forged a partnership with the JED program, and created a campus-wide mental health strategic plan to address things like mental health, substance abuse, and suicide prevention. She's been on multiple committees, including the Upstate New York College Collaboration Wellness Committee, and most recently recognized as a Rochester Business Journal Healthcare Hero. So we get a full-fledged hero on our show today. So without any more delay, let's welcome Rebecca Kieffer. I almost did it again. Hi, Becky. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. Good morning. And you can call me Becky.
I apologize. So can I at least just go back? So
yes,
when I knew you in the 1990s, wow, that seems like a forever ago, right? Yeah. So we actually went to St. John Fisher College at the same time, and now it's a university. We both graduated in 96. My degree was also in psychology. I don't know if you knew that, but it was in psychology and education minor. And we both played on the soccer teams for a bit.
A bit on the team. Not sure I played much, but
that's how I remember you being like the all pro soccer person.
I don't know. I'm not sure, but anyway, I was on the team. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So anyway, you ended up back at Fisher. So.
Yes.
And then you also married someone that went to school with us as well.
I did indeed. My spouse, Norm, who is also an employee at Fisher. So we have a very close connection to the university, and I'm so happy to be here today with both of you. Thanks so much for the invite.
You're
Absolutely.
very well.
Tell me, expand a little bit on what you're doing at Fisher right now. What's your work and role, and what are you trying to achieve there?
Before you do that, can I
sorry,
try
Jim.
this? Well, I apologize,
Yeah.
Guru. It's my fault because I usually just go right into this. Besides what I just kind of gave, we've side effect of the purpose and everything you have to offer about the great stuff to connect the community to. The thing that's really been helpful is when someone comes on to tell us about your story, like anything you want to tell us, how you got to where you are, and then we'll delve into all the great stuff that you do, if that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm happy to share that. So I often think of people that work in community and service professionals as helpers. And I often talk to students now about if you're a natural helper, you will gravitate toward a career in that field. I didn't have a dream to be a social worker. I didn't know I would be a social worker. I was a psych major. I enjoyed psychology quite a bit. I was terrible in math and science, so I could not do that. Good at English and talking. That's a skill I have. So graduated from Fisher and really was advised by Tam Spitzer, Dr. Tam Spitzer, who was a professor at the time, to seek a degree in social work. And I said, I trust her and I'm going to try this out. So I applied to Syracuse, took their, went through their degree program, and then really got into the field of doing direct care, mental health care, community care. Learned so much in those settings. I mean, that's really where, you go to grad school, you get your degree, but you learn in your career, and really became more passionate about leadership. My passion really is supporting people who do the work. So my trajectory really has been, just to kind of follow this leadership path that brought me back to Fisher in 2016 as the director of the Health and Wellness Center, which is our medical counseling center. Sometimes people think it's the gym, but it's not. And really getting involved with JED. The JED Foundation is a national foundation, and they work with higher ed and high schools to help really with initiatives around mental health, like you said, Jim, mental health, substance abuse, substance awareness, not even, just like the awareness of using a substance and how that might impact you. And then really the idea of suicide prevention and those important topics. So that's kind of my story in a nutshell.
Okay. Great.
Yeah. When one thing I always like to when suicide prevention is brought up, it's still getting the word out, right? The suicide prevention hotline recently changed.
Yes.
And if anybody, if anybody needs help or wants to call or knows of someone potentially considering suicide, the new number is, and correct me if I'm wrong, Becky, I'm pretty sure it's 988.
Yes.
So
yes, that's correct.
Please call that. It's an easy number to remember. And I know they're still trying to market and get that new number out. So thanks for bringing that up. It's always a good thing to put out.
I would add to that you can text 988. So for our younger people who prefer texting, you can text 988, and then you will be connected to a licensed counselor.
That's great.
So it's a wonderful resource. And really to think about it, sometimes they rebranded it to Suicide and Crisis Prevention Hotline, not leaving just a suicide. It can be for really any need.
Yeah.
So thinking about that, it's 24/7 access as well.
Yeah, they provide such an incredible service. So yeah, thank you. Awesome. So.
Now, Greg, did your question get answered that I rudely, said stop yourself? Did that already get answered?
I'm gonna go with yes. I'm gonna go with yes. So your question was better. Fine.
No, it wasn't. It's not about better. It's not about us. This is not about us. It's about the guest. Okay.
No, that's really neat. That's a heck of a trajectory in career. So I think the part of it that I'm still interested in is that you're in that leadership role at Fisher. So what's the vision? What are you working towards? With young adults, with students coming into college, with college age, or even seniors moving on, right? What does that whole landscape look like for you, and what are you kind of thinking about in that space?
Yeah, that's a great question. So really the idea of, being able to address mental health is really it's a community issue. There's no way in any higher ed setting that a counseling center could manage the need. And so we really take the approach at Fisher and through JED and through our partnership with JED to really make it a campus-wide issue, including doing things like training individuals in a response called QPR, question, persuade, and refer, developing a trauma response team that is campus-wide, that takes the burden off of the counseling center to respond in a time of trauma and a time of crisis. We're wrapping up our JED initiative. We're 4 years into that, and then developing the ongoing plan with how do we sustain what we have been able to achieve. We've run campaigns really on campus to message it's okay to not be okay, to really develop more peer partnership programs. We've hosted Kevin Hines last fall, who is a survivor of a suicide attempt from the Golden Gate Bridge in the 90s, and he's a international really speaker that speaks about mental health. And we do have a speaker that we're hosting next week from SU. He's a former SU basketball player. His name's Caleb Joseph. So really bringing the attention on mental health, the whole student, and really the campus as a whole, because it involves everybody. Everybody has mental health and can be aware of that, to be that it's addressed as a campus, as a community.
So I was going to say that when we were in school, I don't recall, I'm sure we had some, but I would imagine that the change in the campus from 30 years ago, man, yikes.
Yeah.
So would you say the programs that you're developing now,
Yes.
are you getting support from the budgetary wise from the campus to
Yes.
develop these things?
Oh, yes. I mean, even becoming a JED campus, sometimes people look at that like, what is that? That's really a consultant opportunity that was funded by a strategic initiative at Fisher. So from that, even from taking that position of funding this, like we pay for these consulting services. And so, that's continued. The nice thing about really raising that profile of mental health is now you kind of draw in potential donor support. You draw in just that awareness of the things you're doing. And most individuals, I believe, really take an interest in that, really say, wow, that's an important topic. We really want to help support that. So we have had really wonderful cross-campus support.
That's great. Yeah. To add to that, when I was entering and went through my university experience, I was making the joke earlier, right? I feel like the way to deal with mental health translated to a funny quote in a movie. I think it's called Central Intelligence, with Dwayne Johnson and Kevin Hart, and he's talking to Kevin's character, and Dwayne goes, yeah, anything you feel, you just take it up, you ball it, and you just push it way, 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 way down, and just leave it there, right? Like, that's just kind of what it was. But over the past 20, 30 years, even, through efforts, through individuals like yourself and many other people, there's been this shift, like very palpable shift, positive palpable shift, in the feeling of what mental health is, and just recognizing what it is first, and then being able to have a conversation or reach out or do thing. And you're seeing it even in, commercial places, like commercials, right? I mean, literally, YouTube, the TV, you're seeing, BetterHelp and all these things. So to have it for these young adults right on campus, and start their adult career understanding that exists, and that is a thing that they should and need to have dealt with, is a good thing. It's a great thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, we owe a lot to the K through 12 system that's implemented social emotional learning. I have two children. I have two young boys, and they're 12 and 14, and they have language that I did not have at their age, to talk about their feelings, to address their emotions. Maybe that's because I'm their mom. I don't know, but they can speak about it, and we encourage that. Both Norm and I encourage that in our home. To really understand that that is playing a part to our young people being more aware and understanding what might be happening for them. I mean, COVID impacted us all. And because it was such an isolative pandemic, that we really had to isolate it from people that we loved and cared about, that increased the awareness on that impact. So when you're isolated and you don't have community, or your community is limited by many things, not because you're choosing that, it can impact individuals. So it is really about that connection. How do we reach back? How do we connect? How do we check on our loved ones, the people we know? It's not easy to do, but it's important to really, how are you? I've missed talking to you. Wonder how you're doing. You can do that with colleagues. You can do that with family. You can do that with a number of people. That encourages connection.
Yeah.
Question I have is, so, my kids, I have one that's already out of college, one who's currently going to college right now, and transfer to a different college and all that stuff. And we're concerned as parents. So there's several stakeholders in a college campus setting. And the parents are the ones I'd like you to kind of talk about. What is their expectation on for a college, for supporting their young adult student? What kind of feedback are you getting in that regard?
Yeah, I definitely think that parents want to know, what are the resources. Most universities, most higher ed settings will have some type of counseling and medical services available. They ask about that. We do a lot of work at Fisher. When we're preparing students to come to campus, we do a program called Great Beginnings. And that's in part talking to the parents and saying, hey, while this may be, this is a very exciting and important time in your young adult's life. Most people say, oh, college is the most wonderful time of your life. That can be, but that does not mean there will not be road bumps. There will not be struggles. There will not be adjustment to the setting. And I think sometimes that's a hard reality. You think, you think about that, and you think you're sending your child off and everything's going to be smooth sailing. And we do find that students may struggle, and that's a part of it. So being able to acknowledge that, being able to say, when might a student seek professional counseling? Because the other thing is that not everybody needs professional counseling. There are plenty of resources, definitely at Fisher and on most campuses. You have career academic advising, you have faculty, you have coaches, you have our Res Life staff, you have RAs, you have RDs, you have so many individuals who touch point with students, that we really want to encourage those check-in points. How's it going? Because we do expect that students may have some bumps.
Yeah. Do you feel like there are more resources nowadays than there were, or do you think they are just better publicized, or maybe not better publicized, but just used more?
Well, to compare, I mean, Jimmy brought up that, when we were students, I think there was one counselor on campus that might have been there sometimes. There wasn't a center, there was a nurse's office, this was in the 90s. And that's what we knew to do. That's what most colleges were and campuses were doing. I mean, there has been such a shift to more resources, more training, more preparation of individuals who will have touch points with students. Just it's really sort of a different world from that perspective. Not that there wasn't mental health. Sometimes people say, why are students coming in with more mental health concerns? And I'm not convinced that's really it. I'm convinced that it's probably because they have the language to say what's happening where we might not have.
No.
And
Agreed.
we tended to just whatever, push
Suck
through,
it up.
ignore.
Yeah.
I did not get through my higher ed experience without some bumps. So it's and again, but I don't want to compare my experience to my children's experience, and that's a tendency that we all might do.
That's true.
Back in my day, and my kids laugh, and they say, Mom. So just kind of honoring that their experience is different than yours.
Right.
And there's some things that are the same, but mostly different.
Do you have the goal of the show is to not only highlight you, but also through that highlighting, perhaps it motivates somewhere an individual who might be on a college campus in a role like yours. They might have nothing to do with the career, but like have the inner desire to be helpful. Are there any programs that are maybe new that you guys have either developed or partnered with that others may not know about that you think would be worthwhile sharing right now? Do you have anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I would always reference the JED Foundation. They have a website. It's jedfoundation.org. There's so many resources that you can access for, without being a campus, without being a JED campus. And again, they have information for high schools as well. So, really from the perspective of, high schools and doing this work, it's so important because that's how students are going to be best prepared. I mean, locally, and then I would mention the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention is another fabulous resource. There's a Western New York chapter. And their website, I believe, is afsp.org. I think, don't quote me. Another wonderful resources. They do really free training for the community. They have a couple of models really to help individuals learn potentially how to intervene around the topic of suicide. You highlight even in our community, NAMI is NAMI Rochester. Mental Health Association, all the, the two hospital systems that we have. We are one of the only cities in the country who has a behavioral health access center that's basically like an urgent care for behavioral health. That's unique to Rochester. That's through Rochester Regional and is at St. Mary's Hospital. It's very nice to work in a community with a very increased resources. So I know there are campuses that don't have those things, and it makes the work harder, I would say. So we have the Rochester community to really fall back on, and we utilize them and we partner with them.
Yeah.
Excellent. Very good. So, all right. How about any other nuggets, any other suggestions or highlights that you can say maybe you've been one of the catalysts besides those programs you've mentioned? Is there anything else that you would have there?
Yeah, I'll just go back to the idea that, kind of like the saying, it takes a village, but to really think about mental health, wellness, the whole individual as a, not just being dealt with by one thing. It starts in the home, it starts in the community, it starts with modeling. A lot of people want to go to social media, and that's a thing that impacts us. But I hear a lot about that being placed on children and young adults. And I'll tell you right now, we're all in it. We're all in social media.
Mm-hmm.
So even that, and how you engage in that platform, how you model for your children, how you behave, how you behave on there, how you engage is so important, to really helping everybody, because that's not going anywhere.
Right.
Social media is not going anywhere. And there are really some benefits to social media, to connect, to find information, to find those resources. So, that's probably, I guess, a nugget.
Yeah, that's a nugget. No, I think we all can relate to the social media having an effect.
Yep.
I was in inner city elementary classrooms for 20 years, so I can tell you, whether it's poverty or not, social media technology is a part of everyone's lives in some way. So, and some of it's good, some of it's not. But, all right. Then, Gerwin, any other questions before we go into our Connect 4?
I don't think so. That we covered a lot, so that was great.
All right, Becky. So, are you ready? This is how we close out the shows with rapid. I don't know how rapid, but some questions called Connect 4.
Sure.
Right, here we go.
All right, Becky. What is your guilty pleasure TV show?
So I love television. My husband will tell you that. Usually I'm streaming like a couple shows at a time, but I recently just got into a show called The Regime, and it's on Max, if you have it. The lovely and talented Kate Winslet is the lead character, and it's just kind of a different, interesting show. So check it out.
All right.
All right, good plug. How about, all right, when you're not watching that show, how about a book or a podcast that you're going through right now, and you don't have to say ours?
Yours, of course. No. So I have been trying to do more reading this year, and let me think of a recent book. Well, let me think. So I am reading, I like to read historical fiction. So I'm reading a book called The Lindbergh Nanny, which is about the Lindbergh baby. I mean, that's such a tragic story, but it's kind of an interesting, I didn't know a lot about what actually occurred. So it's a fictional story, but it's got some historical facts in it. So that's what I'm reading right now.
Interesting. Spencer loves historical fiction, so I might have to check that out for him.
Yeah, tell her to check it out.
Yeah. What is your superpower? And just to remind our viewers, this is something that you just naturally do better than most other people, right? It's not like flying or invisibility. But
Yeah.
What do you do better than most other people?
I often say this, and I mean, I just can talk. I mean, I'd like to talk. I can talk. I talk a lot. I talk.
Love it. Love it.
Sometimes when people say I have a big mouth, but no, I like to talk, like to connect.
Yeah, that's awesome. Maybe we should just have you on more regularly. So,
yeah.
And the final question of Connect 4, what is a habit that you would like to improve on? So not necessarily a bad thing, but something that you're like, yeah, I wish I could improve here. What would that be?
Oh boy, that's a good one. I think so talking as a parent, I think I'm always thinking about my presence with my children, being a working parent and having a working spouse. I think that's a challenge that I'm always trying to think about. How am I present with them? How am I engaging them? Because it's very easy to just let them go in their rooms. I'm going in my room. And I am aware of that, and not in a critical way, but I just think about that often.
Yeah. I don't think you're alone in that. That's for sure. I will tell you that mine being a little bit more advanced than yours. We had kids right out of college, so 28 and 25 year olds. It goes by, and this part you already know. It goes by too fast.
Yes.
And then
yes.
You'll always look back. So.
Yep.
All right.
Well, Becky, if people want to reach out to you, how can they what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Sure. I do so I'm on LinkedIn and I'm on Facebook and I'm on Instagram. But I'm happy to share. I mean, I could share my Fisher email if that's something. So
and we can put it in the
yeah,
like the notes of the video too. So we
yeah.
can put it there. But what's
Yeah.
your handle on like Instagram or Facebook or
Oh
whatnot? Do you know?
God.
That's all right.
We have them in the description. Just,
Yeah.
We do.
Probably just
yeah.
my name.
Then
I don't have anything super fancy.
they can get them there. So perfect. Yeah, we'll put them in the notes so that people can reach out to you.
Okay.
Like bend
awesome.
it like Becky. Bend it
Yeah,
like Becky
no.
soccer. No, sorry.
No.
All
No,
right.
I had no foot skills, Jim. I just fell and jumped on the ball a lot. And that's what I did.
There was a rugby team for that too.
Yeah, I guess I should have done that.
But all right, well, we really appreciate you coming on the show, and I know that you have added value to not only whoever listens to it today, but down the line as this gets us in a library. There, if it even touches one life, I mean, that's what this is all about. And I know that you have that value, and you probably already impacted so many lives you might not even have heard yet from them, but you certainly have, and those are very important causes. And I remember our college days, and we probably could have used a lot more assistance than we kind of did. So thank you for what you do.
No, thank you both. Thanks for the time this morning.
All right, so now we're going to kick you out.
Okay.
Have a great day.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
So, all right.
Awesome.
Gerwin, that was fantastic.
Yeah, that's a new topic for us, which is great. I don't think that topic's going anywhere. I think there's a lot of people in our community, and Becky is the first of many, but she's really doing great work. It sounds like not only at Fisher but in the community, which is part of why we had her on, right?
Exactly.
That was really cool. I kind of felt that in my soul as we were talking to her.
Yeah, and I've had the ability to kind of think of it as, the kids that I saw in classrooms didn't have words for this, and then we were fortunate enough. The one good thing about COVID, I don't think you ever hear that phrase, but one of the things that they allowed us to now, not even allowed, they almost pushed the curriculum of this social emotional learning, which was never a thing ever. And there's just kids that could never express what was going on. And now they had the ability. And as Becky very well pointed out, they now have words and expressiveness that their parents might not even be not only not aware, they just don't even know how to deal with it. They're like, what are you even talking about? So as long as the parent is willing to learn from their child in those cases, they've got a chance. So anyway,
absolutely.
It was great.
Cool.
So, all right. Then we'll see you next week. Oh, sorry. You got to do that. I always forget that. Go ahead.
So for all of you watching or viewing this later, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate it. We hope this has helped you. As a favor to us, and the best way you can help us is share, like, subscribe, comment on this video, and we really appreciate you, our community, for being here.
Absolutely. Everyone have a great week.
Bye, everybody.